Okay, let's swap out the map. Wraith Trap. Oh, crap. Okay. So you can probably hear my son's TV show in the background now. It's about a bunch of talk. No, you're fine. You're fine. It's about a bunch of talking instruments, and so you hear a lot of instruments playing. Hey, Aiden, do you want to light another sparkler? He's like, nope, I want my TV show. Hey, Conjugates, how are you? Yeah, I'm sure, Victory. Honestly, I don't live off of donations. I have a really nice full-time job, so donations are exactly that. Like, I please don't feel bad if about that. Yeah, really. Basically, all I'm doing now is just recovering my costs for my shipping and handling, and then anything else that gets donated is putting towards an Xbox. I think I might actually start having. I'm halfway tempted to buy a domain for like really cheap, and then basically have a website that I can update, because I don't really like the panels down below. They're not really a good representation. And then basically kind of show goals. So like my next goal with any donations is probably going to be an Xbox One, because I know a lot of people want me to coach them on the Xbox One. And then people can kind of see a visual representation of all the donations going towards those specific things. Oh, apparently somebody forgot to pick monster. Sorry about that. I didn't even realize that somebody else picked monster by accident. Yeah, like normally if you don't pick the monster, it's just randomized between whoever hasn't picked one yet.
I thought I did click the monster. I think the game just glitched out.
I know sometimes when I click something and then I shift tab to go to my chat relay or alt tab, it deselects it for some reason.
It happens to me a lot.
I might have did that.
All the bears in here. And then we got a goby, a behemoth, and a sunny drone. Okay, and while they choose, I will be right back and get something to quench my thirst. Okay, let me go get that beverage. I'll be right back. Okay, and Oh, Aiden, you okay? Come here. I'll kiss your head better. Mwah. Oh, on your shoulders too? And your head? Okay. Sorry, my son, every time he falls down and gets hurt, he just wants us to kiss it, and then he's all better. He doesn't even cry. He's just like, just kiss it, make it better. And we got ourselves a Val, Griffin, Sunny, Hyde. So this is another team I see in some pretty decent team compositions. The reason why is because Sunny can effectively keep these two. Oh, that's unfortunate. Kills 2 birds over there, but does not bring any of them to him. Unfortunate. But Sunny can boost these guys, which basically these guys are all about stopping and slowing the monster. And so if the 3 of these guys do a good enough job, it can make hell for the monster. And oh, it looks like trap draws. So the monster not going to be able to go ahead. Might be able to get a couple of bites off before they kick him off. Nope. Looks like 1 bite. I never realized this skin's actually pretty good about hiding in here. So this is, no, maybe carrion. Nope. I don't think it's been long enough on the map yet for an instant. Say who's there? Oh, knock knock, who's there? What? My wife's making fun of me. So interestingly enough, they were pinging the monster over here, but it doesn't look like they actually followed through with it. They might have been finding corpses over here. And there are some birds. I don't know if the Val can see them. Oh, and it does look like that they are too far away. Nope. Does look like they see him. Just Val coming back to heal. So monster already ready for stage 2. Just needs a little bit of food. Usually whenever I set off birds, I usually kind of just go loud for a little bit, get off those last couple of bites, and then move my position from there. Because if you go slowly from that position, it's a little easier to follow you. So monster ready to evolve. They don't have to worry about a Hank or a Cavett, so let's see where he evolves. This is actually a pretty decent evolved spot. I don't think they're going to get to him anywhere near in time. Hyde possibly could throw a toxic grenade, but I seriously doubt it. So it does look like that they are doing a 3-1 split. I'm not sure. That's just to get around that big rock. So it'll be interesting if they'll be able to dome it right off the bat or not. Oh, all 3 traversals used already. Might be very easy. Oh, and it looks like Sunny. Is Sunny boosting? There you go. So if you're going to be boosting, try boosting while you're in the air, because that way your momentum's not being slowed down. And monster full armor, ready for the traditional, I'm going to abduct, and warp blast, and hit, and the normal Wraith stuff. Not a big fan of this kind of Wraith play because it's very boring to watch, in my opinion. I feel that Wraith is kind of a one-trick pony. And poor Val. Oh, Val might be able to get away for like a split second. There we go. There's Sunny's boost. But I think it's a little too late. They're not going to quite be able to go ahead. And there we go after Griffin. Not going to be able to do much. So Griffin and... So 2 strikes down. No permanent health damage. Monster looking like he's going to be in a very strong position for the remainder of the map. My wife was laughing at the fact that I didn't realize that somebody said knock knock and I'm supposed to say who's there. So she's mocking me for not realizing that.
It's funny, you don't do a knock knock joke online. It's one of those random things where it's like, knock knock, wait, what?
Although that being the case, she kind of just mocks me for just pretty much everything these days.
You said YOLO.
So?
You said YOLO.
Yeah.
Who are you and what have you done with my
My wife's making fun of me. Make her stop. Okay, so the hunters, once again, grouped up. Would like to see a little bit better of a split. Trapper, support together, assault, and medic. And here we go. Here's the assault. Assault does snag the assault. Did I say the assault snags the assault? I meant the abduct snags the assault. So it looks like he's trying to spread out the area right now. So Val, there's the abduct, and remember the warp blast, and there's the warp blast. Need to be very, very careful. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, so Wraith is very, very predictable. Like, it abducts and it warp blasts, or it warp blasts and it abducts. So a lot of people use up way too much fuel trying to catch up with the Wraith, when, again, it's not a DPS race against the Wraith. Similar to the Kraken, it's just about avoiding those two skills. That's all you have to do, and you win. Because outside of those skills, Wraith doesn't have anything. And so it's all about being defensive, saving your jetpack just to avoid those two abilities as much as possible. So I'm glad that the Trapper did not just throw the dome as soon as within range, because otherwise you'd get downed and then the dome would come down. So I do like, oh, and it looks like that boost finally getting caught up. And the assault, good job on intercepting that abduct. And I'd like to see the cloak from the support be used a bit more. And so the monster running away, even though he was still in a very strong position, probably just going away because it doesn't like taking permanent health damage, which is fine. They're making fun of me for saying YOLO as well now. Good job. My son just decides to join in. Okay, so they're getting ready for the warp blast. There we go. Nice dodge by Silver. And again, that's all you need to do. Just watch out for those. Abduct is slightly less worrisome. Is if you're being healed or shielded, you don't have to worry about anything. Warp Blast is pretty much the only ability you really have to worry about. Abduct is annoying, yes, for sure, but it's only the Warp Blast. That's Wraith's only real damage. And so look at that. That engagement was much stronger. The armor completely gone. Monster is ready to evolve to stage 3. But right now the Hunters are doing a really, really good job, even though the Medic is on 2 strikes and the Trapper's on 1. As long as you can keep on that kind of momentum, basically avoiding the Warp Blast and the Abduct, and that's all you have to really do. Kind of like with Kraken, the big ones of just avoiding the Aftershock or Lightning Strike. Vortex, you can kind of eat. Same thing with Abduct. As long as Abduct isn't 100 meters away, you know, eating an Abduct doesn't really matter too much in the grand scheme of things. But dodging that Warp Blast is extremely important. And here comes the Assault Snatch. So the Assault's probably the least favorite to abduct, just because you're just going to waste a lot of abilities. Still has the Warp Blast, uses the Warp Blast to get away, but does have very little health, or very low armor, and it still looks like it's ready to evolve and stage up. Here we go, getting some meat from the Toxic Hounds. I probably would have left tracks through here, because Toxic Hounds are really hard to see when they're running through the foliage like this. Here we go. Trapper being targeted. Misses the Warp Blast. So Medic getting knocked out of position. Support. There we go. Oh, misses the... and here we go. Warp Blast. Warp Blast. Watch out for the Warp Blast. And the Warp Blast hits. Another thing to realize is that people that play Wraith are very predictable as well. So if you know that the Warp Blast is off cooldown, just go in the opposite direction. Like, so if the Wraith is facing you, jetpack twice towards her, and because a lot of times people don't premature detonate, and so it makes it very, very easy to go ahead and get rid of that. To answer your question, Dead, I think that he could have ended it there when the first person was down, just because the Hunter team is kind of not in a great position, and so so if you're ever playing against a team and they can they aren't avoiding Warp Blast, they'll just lose. But if you're playing against a team that can avoid the Warp Blast, then the Wraith has a very, 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 very hard time doing any kind of damage against the Hunter. So going after a single Obsidian Grub here, getting a little bit of armor. And it does look like the Hunters are going to be picking their defensive positions. And there's the Warp Blast. Going after a Dune Beetle. Not the biggest fan of going after Dune Beetles. Carpe Diem. Yeah, Carpe Diem is, but you forget, kids nowadays, they don't know anything that's not an abbreviation or a text message. Wait for a mod, ow. My wife has been a mod for a while. That being said, though, I think I probably will start adding a couple of other people to be mods. But right now, I don't really need it because everyone here is really cool and laid back, and I don't really have any spammers or trolls or anything like that. So I haven't really had a need for it. But I might be doing some participation things. I'm going to try and see how much I can get away with. So I'd love to give ranks. Like, make somebody a honorary calf, and then turn them into a cow, and then a bovine instead of a mod or something, but I don't know if you can do that or not. So, Portkey, trying to do as much as possible, trying to get away, needs to get healed. Val should be coming back in very, very shortly, but it does... Ooh, nice dodge by Silverblade here, and there's the Warp Blast, and the Warp Blast misses. So right now, look, monster's low health, and even at stage 3, you can do a lot of damage to the Wraith, as long as you just avoid that Warp Blast and Abduct combo. Nice dodge by Portkey, but unfortunately it is only going to be one hit, and then you're down. So here comes the Assault. Assault, or misses the Abduct. Assault's doing a little bit of damage, but right now it's not looking great for this team. Monster trying to focus on the Medic now. Medic will be getting pinned against the wall and needs to be careful of that. I think the biggest thing is, in fact, Val's down to support up just in the last split second. I would love to see Sound get boosted there while Sunny was running away. Probably could have saved his life. Remember, it's a little bit more about the defensive game more than anything else. And there we go, there's the Abduct. The monster going to try and finish off the Assault. But it does look like they... And there you go. So that's exactly what you do. You save your jetpack for those big moves, and that's all you have to really worry about. I like that she's fighting near the drone as much as possible. You might not be able to last for an entire minute here, but is going to be able to do a little bit on her own.
GG.
GG.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Yeah, GG.
Oh, that's your wife. Steer rank confirmed. Okay, sorry about that. My wife is taking over my Twitch channel. That being the case, really good game. I feel like the biggest thing is just learning how to avoid... I think it's interesting because when Wraith was considered OP, when she was first released, it was because people didn't know how to avoid Supernova and Decoy. But now that Supernova and Decoy are pretty useless skills, it's gone back to Abduct and Warp Blast. And so I feel that a lot of times Wraiths are very predictable because they'll Abduct, hit, Warp Blast, or Warp Blast, hit, Abduct, and so forth. And so I feel like that as long as you avoid the Warp Blast, her damage isn't really that bad. Even at stage 3, you can do quite a lot. So it's all about jetpack management. And again, I think she's kind of similar to Kraken in the fact that defense is the best offense against Wraith. Just because if you're out of position, she can exploit it very well, especially with Abduct and a Warp Blast. So the biggest thing is just to make sure that you have enough jetpack. And if you know that the monster's Warp Blast is off cooldown and is about to use it, try jetpacking towards her, because usually a lot of times people forget to premature detonate, especially because they're not reacting because they're jumping towards you instead of away from you, because it's easier to hit a runaway target that way. So just be careful with that. I would have liked to see the split a little bit better. It did seem like the 4 of you were a little too close, and so you weren't really able to find a lot of the clues or tracking. It was unfortunate for the start of the Wraith, where the Wraith tried to abduct a Strider, killed 2 of them, but managed to bring neither one back, and then it summoned the Trap Jaws of Death. Interestingly enough, you guys
that frustrated me so much.
It was funny because you guys,
no,
at the very beginning, you guys were pinging like right when she was walking away from that, but it looks like that you focused more underground. Was it because you thought you saw her that you pinged in that area, or were you just pinging because of the Trap Jaws?
See, Danny looked at my tower.
I pinged to our left because I
Wow.
saw the tracks. I could see how the Wraith went up the little climbing. I could see that she climbed to our left, but I think they were convinced that she was below. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to go up on myself and look.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, because I saw the pings there, and I was like, oh, this is actually really strong. But then the monster was able to get away and get a pretty easy, solid stage 2. At that point, it was mostly just jetpack management inside the actual combat. For the most part, you guys were doing pretty good, though, especially at stage 3 without the healer. You had some really nice dodges at the end, towards the end, Silver, and that's exactly what you do. You know, eating an abduct or even a melee hit is nowhere near as bad, but you really want to avoid the warp blast, because without warp blast, Wraith cannot do very much damage at all. So if you can avoid the warp blast and nothing else, then that's really solid. And then you're just forcing the monster to kind of chase somebody around. Then you have 3 people shooting her while you're just playing on the defense. But good job overall. Let's go ahead and swap out. I think we'll do one. Let's do one more match, and then we'll swap out in the chat room.
All right.
All right.